guys, welcome back. It's Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Alita Battle Angel and how she's sort of formed a cult.
Supposedly, a cult of the alt-right.
This is coming from the independent.co.uk.
Yes, and Great Blue Sun had sent it to us today to talk about. I read it and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so off the rails. It's just hilarious. So
we have to start beating up Alita now because the DVD, the Blu-ray, the digital drops this month. That's
not why they're saying it. I mean, that's why they're doing it. But they're saying it's because the Academy asked for ideas for who to nominate for the Oscars. That's why they wrote this article, not because it just happens to be on Blu-ray right now.
Okay, yeah, because that would just be too much. Now, right? It's coming out within the next week or two. I think it's on digital.
Digital I think it's
on digital right now, and it's coming out on Blu-ray within the next
June 6th on digital, right? When was this article posted? 5 hours ago on the, on the 8th or 7th, depending where you're at. It posted, and it just happens to be like a day or two after Alita comes out on Blu-ray or digital. Sorry.
Purely coincidental.
Oh yeah, no, it has nothing to do with that.
Purely coincidental that they're attacking Alita now.
And the reasoning is so far-fetched. Let's go on.
Okay, well, before we get into that, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. We really appreciate it. This month has been really, really good for us, and we're gonna try to ramp up the content here on Clownfish TV. So sub for Geeky
and sub for Neon
and
sub for the Reef.
Come to the reef.
Do it for the reef.
Do it for the reef. Reefer madness. Do it for the reef. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's talk about this article from the Independent, The Cult of Alita Battle Angel, Alt-Right Parable, or Neglected Classic.
Why would you write... Okay, first of all, this is clickbait because they're desperate for hits because their hits are probably down. Alt-Right Parable. All right. Here's a funny thing. You really liked Alita quite a bit, and how we promoted Alita a lot. Irony here. Neither one of us lean right.
Yeah,
we lean left.
This is what we figured out. Anytime the media, anytime pop culture journalists take to the internet and call something alt-right, it basically means anything other than super far left.
It means everything other than their opinion. And it's funny. I looked up the way the site leans. They say they lean center left. And they're asking this, it's not like they're asking a question. They're making it like they're asking this question, but they spend the whole article talking about how it's alt-right. That's pretty much what they do the entire article. Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, they're saying here on The Independent that it is center left.
Which is what we are.
Yeah. So anyone, even like what quote unquote normies, your average middle American couple, by their definition is considered alt-right.
Anybody who doesn't agree with them is me saying that, I don't really have a problem with Ariel being black as much as I do that they better make her a redhead because I'm tired of them taking away ginger characters, made me a racist alt-right Nazi.
All right, so we're actually going to have to read quite a bit of this article because it gets more and more ridiculous the further on we read.
Right.
Like many of these articles, they start out somewhat unbiased.
No, it's biased from the beginning, but it's kind of reasonable at the beginning.
So it gets more and more ridiculous as it goes on. Okay, so let's start. James Cameron's passed over film about a cyborg girl has built a hashtag Alita army of fervent fans.
Is a champion the worst or the best of the internet in action? This is ridiculous because you could argue this for any film that has a fan base. They had hashtags. People who like Captain Marvel were going around having these things trying to deliberately upvote the Rotten Tomatoes scores, and they were a concerted effort to do so. You could argue this. Doesn't matter what fandom it is. This could be argued for any fandom. So this is absolutely biased. Keep going.
Right, and here's the thing. This tweet was from May, and they bust it out now when it comes out on
right when it comes out. Yeah, but it's because of this. Because basically, I'm just going to sum it up for you. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences for the Oscars asked followers to name a movie that they felt needed to be seen in cinemas. Probably, for ideas for who to nominate or whatever. And one user suggested Alita. Gasp! How dare they suggest Alita? And it was an unusual pick considering how rapidly the Robert Rodriguez directed dystopian action fantasy, co-scripted and produced by Cameron himself, appeared to drop out of cultural consciousness upon its release. No.
No, they pushed it out. They pushed it out to make room for...
Oh, they mentioned that.
For Captain Marvel.
That they think there's a conspiracy by Disney.
Well, considering Disney's buying Fox and
considering how there was
they control both companies.
They could prove a tie-in to Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And the only movie they protected Rotten Tomatoes was Captain Marvel, but not Alita, which are both female-led shows. I don't understand why it has to be Alita or Captain Marvel. Why can't they be both? Because they're both strong female-led shows. I don't understand how Alita was problematic with her body, but Captain Marvel had big boobs and a tight bodysuit too, and that's okay because it's Captain Marvel.
So this
Pick a side.
So this is what gets me here, though, because they're like, okay, so, well, one person said you need to go see Alita. But even stranger was a second Twitter account suggested Alita, most in need of a cinematic viewing. Then a third, then a fourth.
Oh, imagine that!
Alita's got more than 4 fans.
Imagine that one person said it and other people chimed in. A surge from there with thousands of Alita fans. Okay, so what? The same thing happens all the time when they ask for the suggestion with Star Wars, with Captain Marvel, with all these other movies. I guarantee you, if you go look at this, you will find that it wasn't just Alita. There was a bunch of places that they had concerted efforts to try to promote it, to try to get it to be recognized by the Academy. It happens all the time.
And then that unexpected Alita devotion has only become more pronounced in the months since. It sounds so, like, devious, right? So conspiratorial. Twitter accounts for sites such as Collider and Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah, those are your examples. Okay.
They've witnessed the same voracious Alita support, so much so that it's become something of a meme in itself, driven by the oddness of an incredibly vocal and mobilized fan community coalescing around something seemingly forgotten by everyone outside of it.
Which is not true, first of all. Secondly, there's a few things going on here. If you all recall, what happened back then was Alita came out. Alita was doing pretty good, but it was going to be going up against Captain Marvel. So immediately when people started liking Alita, then we had the media all of a sudden started to find fault with Alita, and by doing so promoted Captain Marvel. And even after Captain Marvel's out, they kept bringing up Alita, dissing Alita to promote Captain Marvel. Rotten Tomatoes, as you recall, initiated whole new systems to protect Captain Marvel. They didn't protect Alita though, but they protected Captain Marvel. So there was definitely some stuff going on at the same time. So they're acting like, you know, all these fans, these vocal fans. There's a lot of vocal fans either way in Star Wars. There's vocal fans in Marvel. There's vocal fans everywhere. This is absolutely ridiculous. And maybe Rotten Tomatoes got a lot of shit because Rotten Tomatoes was changing everything to appease one movie.
Yeah, because their CEO used to be a bigwig at Disney.
Yeah, but there's no conspiracy here. It just happens that he used to work at Disney. They mentioned that, I know.
So let's read this paragraph, because this paragraph is ridiculous. This is where they outline the conspiracy theory. The fans call themselves the Alita Army. They congregate on YouTube and Reddit. And
so we don't call ourselves that either, so whatever.
Typically possess an oddball but undeniably sweet reverence for a well-made and at times genuinely fascinating movie.
We have to make it look like we understand, but go ahead.
But like most things on the internet, there's a darker underbelly. The alt-right make up a not insignificant proportion of Alita's fan base, and they are encouraged not to speak to fake news outlets about their love for the film, while others insist that a smear campaign funded by Disney to diminish its chances at award shows and earn middling reviews from critics has prevented the film from becoming the earth-shattering smash it should have been. And it's a murky puddle of conspiracy and hysteria that hasn't just made Alita Army the most unexpected community of individuals on the internet, but representative of the internet as a whole.
Okay, let's examine this. First of all, I don't think that anybody was thinking that, you know, I honestly don't think that it was going to be an earth-shattering smash if Disney didn't do anything. I think it would have done a little better, but I don't think it was going to be earth-shattering smash, because it is a very niche movie.
It is, and they pushed, it was undermarketed.
It was very undermarketed.
It came out at a weird time. It came out in February, you know.
Yeah. And
it's based on an anime and manga that's, 20, 30 years old that the general public is not familiar with.
Right. So no one was expecting it to be a smash. However, there were a lot of really weird things surrounding it. Like, as soon as it came out, then all these articles started popping up about how problematic it was because of her boobs. And I'm like, but meanwhile, Captain Marvel was revered for, they had a butt double. They had to go hire a butt double for her because her butt wasn't cute enough in her outfit. But, that's not sexist, but Alita is. My whole thing as a woman is, why do we have to compete the two against each other? Why do one have to be tanking for the other? I just never understood it. I'm like, why can't we just have strong female-led movies and be happy about it? I never understood this. There is no big dark conspiracy. Not everybody who likes it is an alt-right person. You don't use the hashtag. We don't even lean right. But we defended it because I thought the double standard was absolutely garbage. And there were concerted efforts, provable concerted efforts by certain companies, not that we won't name again, that were doing some underhanded stuff to raise one movie over the other. But go ahead.
Well, this is what gets me too. They're like, well, many within the Alita army won't do, however, is actually tell you why they love the movie so much.
That's not true at all.
It's not true at all. They talk about how there was a conspiracy here with a journalist of the U.S. Entertainment News site tweeted a request for Alita army members to share the reasoning behind their devotion, only to be set upon after an old tweet resurfaced in which she appeared to mock the fan base.
Well, yes, she clearly has mocked the fan base before, so why the hell would you answer her? Because everything she's going to say is going to be twisted to make you look bad. Why? Okay, so every fan base now, we need this person to go ask, why do you love Star Wars? Why do you love Star Trek? Why do you love the Marvel Universe? Why do you love the DC Universe? You need to go ask everyone, because apparently now you have to explain to them exactly why you love it, or it's not valid.
Okay, here's the thing. They're attacking YouTube. They're attacking YouTube with this article, and we're seeing more and more of this with these blogs.
Because YouTube's a threat.
They're struggling to survive. Vox, we talked about the Vox adpocalypse. They're doing it. If you read between the lines here, that's what this whole thing is about. If the tactics used in the response from outlandish conspiracy claims,
outlandish when it's them making the article, okay,
to YouTube antagonism, to the malicious targeting of a female journalist.
A female journalist who they proved was harassing them first and mocking them first. I don't care if it was a male or female. If you're mocking the fans first, why the hell would they answer you?
This should feel familiar to anyone who has spent as little as 5 minutes exploring the modern alt-right.
We're not alt-right and we're calling your ass out.
Oh my God. Then you would be correct in spotting the crossover between the right-wing internet and elements of Alita Fandom.
Then you can argue this anywhere.
For anything. For Alita, Battle Angel has been a battleground for society's current culture wars for much of 2019, just as a jarringly nonsensical as arena.
You can read any of these articles and you can see how they're pandering to the super far left. And there's a lot of super far left SJWism shown in these articles. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. If you look, you can put these together and you can see a clear pattern. See, we can argue it both ways all day long. It doesn't matter. People like what they like. And just as much as you're claiming there's a clear bias to the alt-right, which we aren't even right, there is just as much of a clear bias on places like the Independent to the far left. So Potter Kettle, Independent, Potter Kettle.
No, this is ridiculous. So they said upon its release in March, Alita was positioned. It was actually, well, man,
it was not a right-wing alternative. I was like, oh look, 2 female-led movies, right. Yay!
They made it. No,
as a woman, this isn't even written by a woman. As a woman, I was like, yes, we got 2 female-led movies. 2 female-led movies, which I mentioned many times in my videos back then. You can go look. Stop putting words in people's mouths. Go ahead.
So what they're doing, they made it. These journalists
they made the issue
an issue. It wasn't an issue.
We brought that up back then.
The issue before was like there were, like you said, there were 2 female-led movies, but one of them pushed political agenda. Not really in the movie, because the weird thing about Captain Marvel is that the movie itself was pretty milquetoast. It didn't have, it was Brie Larson.
Well, they're saying that it was about illegal immigration.
Well, yeah, but they make the argument here that Alita had a lot of like quote-unquote SJW things in it too. So they said that because the hashtag was started by an alt-right celebrity, curiously, it's baffling to talk of Alita Battle Angel as an apolitical movie. In truth, it's arguably even far more liberal in politics than many of the quote-unquote SJW movies.
You're so arguably, this isn't even arguable. What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. And we've written articles on it, and we've talked about it in our videos. The media is very much led by the far left. And the media has a problem with YouTube. And the media has a problem with certain movies that aren't by the people who buy them off doing well. So they skew their stories to create schisms and fractures in fandoms. They create issues that are not there. They find one thing and they make a whole article like this over one person making a comment, and that suddenly means it is a movement for the alt-right, when it never was. Okay, this is stupid.
Let me read the rest of this paragraph, because this is really, these are the points we're trying to make. That Alita is actually more quote-unquote SJW.
But what's most SJW is this article.
Yeah, anyway. It featured none of the military fetishism of Captain Marvel or the performative, widely criticized girl power lip service like Avengers Endgame or Dark Phoenix. Set in a world of extreme inequality, Alita foregrounds its characters of color who are forced to live amid crime and corruption and taught to deify a wealthy, exploitive city in the sky built on the backs of lower-class workers. And like many existing in poverty in modern America, one of the few means of social ascendance in Alita is via competitive sports. That makes it...
Okay, that pretty much describes so many movies that are on the left, too, that I don't even know where to begin. It's like you were just really reaching on this one. And this is just mind-numbingly stupid. I mean, the way they stretch on this one is just so... I'm like, because they ascend by sports. And people that are sports heroes are deified and worshipped. Do you mean like we do now in America?
Right.
You know, also, this movie was huge all over the world. Why is it all alt-right America that's the problem?
Oh, China loved it.
So, but that's not alt, but no, it's alt-rights.
Yeah, actually made most of its money was made in China.
But
now,
alt-rights.
Now they're trying to be like the alt-rights. That sounds like a band.
I don't know, and it's hilarious because we don't even lean right, and we've been talking about the same thing since it came out in February.
It doesn't matter if you're anything slightly right of far left, you're part of the alt-right. So basically 80% of America is the alt-right.
Apparently.
You know, according to these people. This is ridiculous. So now they're going to compare things that Rosa Salazar said to things that Brie Larson said. And they're actually going to dig up some quotes from Rosa Salazar as to why. Now, she wasn't very vocal during the press tour.
No.
Not like Brie Larson.
Not like Brie Larson, who wouldn't keep her mouth shut and got herself in more trouble than she should have.
But they're like, oh, Larson was aggressively attacked for it. This is Rosa Salazar. Earlier in the year, she said, "We're here to stay, baby. Ain't no wall gonna keep us out. Just being a Latinx actress at the helm of something like this sends a message. You know, I carry my name with me wherever I go. I'm Rosa Bianca Salazar, and this is the next wave of Latino casting."
Okay, wait. But let's look at this for a minute. Brie Larson was going around doing article after article after article how we need to diversify Hollywood and it needs to stop being, you know, white guys, and we need a lot more diversity and people of color and stuff like that. So here's Rosa Salazar, who is Latina, and she is not a white person.
Right.
And we're gonna lambast her because she said that she about to say, but Brie Larson, who is a white woman, sitting on your white, quote unquote, white privilege, taking a role that should have been honestly to a black woman, and sitting there going to tell everybody what's what about racism and what we should be accepting, what we shouldn't be accepting. Why do they skewer the actual ethnic woman in the movie competing with her? Is that basically what we're bringing up?
Yeah, but here's the thing: the difference between Rosa Salazar and Brie Larson was Brie Larson went on the offensive and began attacking people. Rosa Salazar is just like, I'm proud of my heritage, you know.
Which she should be.
There's nothing wrong with that.
What that was in defense of Brie Larson was that the comments they brought up, though, about her saying about, I don't want a guy tell me what he didn't like about Wrinkle in Time, that was actually from months and months prior. It really wasn't about Captain Marvel. And they were using that over and over and over again. And when you actually look into it, she said that way previously before that. So I will give her that pass because that was not actually in association. And she also said on another interview that there were a lot of strong female characters in Marvel before Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel isn't the first to do that. So I will give her those two things that she did say. I'll give her passes on those two things. But you're basically going around talking about, you're slamming down Alita, saying about how it's this, that, and everything else because people who like it, you assume are all people that you consider alt-right. When that's just, you know, as any fandom goes, there's going to be some people that are probably that. But the alt-right isn't always what you say it is. You take anybody who isn't far left and call them alt-right.
Yeah. Okay, so this is, oh God, they're bringing Gamergate into it.
I know, they do.
What
they totally go there with Gamergate.
Everything
we ended up on a Gamergate list, which is hilarious because we had nothing to do with Gamergate.
Nothing to do with it.
We weren't even doing this stuff when Gamergate was out.
No, we didn't even have our YouTube channel then. We had nothing. We weren't even, I had to have somebody like, please give me the 411 on Gamergate because I have no idea what the hell happened.
What's funny to me is what they do here. They complain and scream and yell about how you're trying to tank things and you're pigeonholing things because you're alt-right. Meanwhile, they do everything far more than that. Like there's no listening, there's no like talking about it, there's no thinking about it. It's just automatically their go-to is you're not agreeing with 100% with what I'm saying, so you clearly are alt-right, and that's my justification for not speaking to you, and that's my justification. I can go with a clean conscience because I'm not, I'm just going to label you. And it's like, we can't do labels. We can't be racist. We can't be sexist. We can't have labels. As they literally label everyone without listening to anything they say.
Yeah, because what they did is they picked one example of one YouTube video of the thousands of YouTube videos done about Alita versus
Which
Captain
we
Marvel.
did many, and if you had watched it, we don't have the hashtag Alita Army in anything we do.
They even cite the video. They said the human race has finally crafted the most likable female protagonist, proclaims a popular Alita Army YouTube video.
Where's the proof?
Who? Put a link to it. One that doesn't talk down to the fans is believably powerful. One that is attractive without being overly sexy.
Well, how's that a bad thing? If they didn't say anything bad. They said we found a good movie that, as one that's basically they're not over sexualizing it. They're not talking down to people. They're not iron fisting people on what they should or shouldn't believe.
They're not they're fisting the fandom.
They're not fisting the fandom. And I don't see how anything that person said was questionable or bad.
The vlogger adds, no, here's how you find out.
Okay.
The vlogger adds, she's the perfect wife, perfect daughter, and perfect friend. This collection of misogynist themes related to female likability, believable female strength, and regressive views on how women should express their sexuality have echoed around the internet for years, but particularly after Gamergate.
Wait, I'm pausing for a minute. Wait. This collection of misogynistic themes and how women should express their body sexuality. There were several articles written, a lot of them by women, how they were mad about Alita because when she expressed how she thought she should look and expressed her sexuality and her chest size and how she felt she should look, that was problematic. Because how dare she try to be sexy? It doesn't matter if that's what she thinks she should look like. How dare she? So you're on one hand you're saying that it's regressive because they're not telling women that women should be allowed to express their sexuality, but she did, and you got pissed about it. And she wasn't even a sexualized character.
No, the whole purpose of her...
Know what they're talking about.
The body she's given, spoiler, at the beginning of the movie was actually designed for a little girl, and she gets her actual body later in the movie.
She chooses what she looks like. That's
She's the one that chose what she looked like. It was actually
she chose her own form.
It was a more male-looking body, and she rewired it to look like how she wanted to look.
Spoiler, it looked like the comic.
It did.
I mean the manga, sorry. It looked like the manga. So, I know I meant manga. It looked like the manga. So, how dare she look like that as a source material?
Okay, so here's the thing. 5 years after Gamergate.
Yeah, I still don't even understand what
Gamergate
Gamergate
was. They can't get over, these journalists are still going on. This is how...
Basically, this article, whole thing is, let's highlight every clickbait word we can possibly do. The Mary Sue debate, every Last Jedi, Game of Thrones. They just tagged this thing with every possibly clickbait word they could to try to get you to read the article because they're down on hits.
So here's the thing, like for the general public, has moved on from Gamergate, and a lot
people don't even know what it is, nor they care.
They don't even care. But these journalists are so ass hurt by Gamergate that they have to bring it up again.
I don't even think that's why. I think look here.
The keywords. But I wanted to read what they actually, how they want the public. So when somebody searches Google News for what was Gamergate, this is what they're going to see. That 2014 movement, initially driven by misogynist attacks on video game journalists, quickly mutated into a means to attack women, leftists, and most forms of human decency enacted both online and in public, reverberating as much through pop culture as it did politics. So they're keeping it in the news. So whenever somebody's going out there trying to look for information like what the hell was Gamergate anyway, this is the kind of stuff they're going to find.
Well, these are all clickbait hashtags. Gamergate. They highlight them in red too to make sure you find them. Mary Sue, Last Jedi, Game of Thrones, Gamergate, and then they have different magazines. But they they said Brie Larson in all caps, Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, X-Men Dark Phoenix. Endgame shouldn't even be listed here, but they're listing it here because it's a word it's something people are gonna look for, and they all lead to another article probably that they've done.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
This is what we do. This whole thing is crafted. This isn't even about being this whole thing is just a crafted ploy to get you to click on their articles. That's what this entire thing is. At the end of the day, and I also want to mention something else real quick, but I know you want to say something, but I'll mention something else. This whole idea about the Gamergate and how they taxed women. Before we started talking about stuff on YouTube, we did a lot of things. We worked on comics, we worked on a lot of industries. And I'll tell you what, I got more attacked for being a woman by other women and far left people than I ever did from men just in general. I wasn't feminist enough. If I wasn't, whatever, because I mentioned my kids and things like that. I got so much, and Neon can vouch for this, I got so much more shit from these people that were other women than I ever did from men. So this whole idea that it was a bunch of men attacking for, I mean, I'm not saying that men won't do something. They will. But I'm just saying, this is a bunch of shit because I've seen so much shit down on both sides, it's not even funny.
Yeah, just case in point, we've talked about it in previous videos. We've picked up a lot of subscribers since then, though. But just one example is Geeky. Several years ago, there was an online publication that reached out to several women working in comics.
I was the only one with pro credit.
Yeah, Geeky was actually the only one who had pro credit. Everybody else was kind of like doing like just, Tumblr comics and whatever. But because she gave them an answer they did not like, that she pointed out that there were actually a lot of women working in comics and have been a lot of women working in comics, they cut her out of the article.
Yeah, the whole article was clearly skewed to prove that women were being kept back. And I said, and I can see where you could argue that in Marvel and DC at the time. But there's a lot of comics, and I mean, the major graphic novel sales and the kids' books were all women. And I said there was a lot of editors that were women and everything else. So I said, I don't know if that's necessarily all the truth. I'm the only one who didn't. They didn't run in the article because I didn't go along with their women are kept down bullshit. Got kicked off or got told by our literary agent that I wasn't feminist enough. This was a dude though. I wasn't feminist enough because my female character smiled because a boy liked her.
Yeah, I know.
Because like any teenager, whether you like a boy or a girl, them liking you or smiling at you is going to make you happy. Because that's how it works.
How is that progressive to have a male literary agent tell a female how to write her female characters?
You can talk about progressiveness as they behave in ways that are not progressive. Like, for example, this whole thing with Alita. We have 2 strong female-led movies. That should be something to be celebrated, not something to be... They should never have been pitted against each other anyway. And who pitted them against each other? Not the fans. It was the media who started the problem. The media started this whole thing. They were pitted against each other until the media started this bullshit. So it's like, you go on about progressive values, but you guys, you're only about progressiveness if it benefits you. It's not a true progressive anything.
No, and the thing about this, okay, so they rant for paragraphs about how awful the Alita fan base is. Most people are never going to make it to the end of the article.
No, because you've already insulted almost everybody in the world in the first few sentences.
The next to the last paragraph, they're like, well, to be fair, the vast majority of Alita fans aren't toxic.
Just like any fandom.
They just love the movie.
Any fandom, are you going to have some toxic fans in the fandom? Yes, that's inevitable, no matter what it is. But that does not make the majority of fans. And I'm so tired of these places like this crap hole doing that. Anyway, go ahead, continue.
No, I'm just saying, like, they get to so they start out with a premise, they case build, they throw out buzzwords
every
like
word they can get to try to get you to click on the article.
And then the very, very end, they're like, well, just, because they got to make sure that they're legit journalists. So, oh, by the way, most Alita fans aren't terrible. They're like, some of them are just scrappy, naively sweet, and they want to get a sequel made. But, but we're going to case build this whole article about how Alita is now tied to the alt-right.
You insult the Latino actress for the white actress, and go on about how that's problematic because she made comments about being proud of who she was. While the other actress got in trouble for basically saying that we shouldn't have white people run in Hollywood as she's a white woman. I mean, the double standards are just you have to the mental hoops you have to jump through to follow these arguments. I mean, you just like lost 20 pounds.
Yeah. So this is another. I will give the Independent some credit for they do tend to do a little more research than like the Mary Sue and comicbook.com.
They didn't look like they did much on this one.
Well, they have the higher word count, I guess. But the fact that they basically wanted people to associate Alita and Alita fandoms with the alt-right. That's why they wrote
clearly,
this.
They did that right from the beginning.
Yeah.
To get you to click on it and to make that association, and then everything on here. James Cameron, Robert Rodriguez, Collider. There's no reason. Why Collider? Rotten Tomatoes.
Gamergate.
YouTube, Reddit, alt-right, Disney. They did this all.
Every buzzword.
So you can go, and everyone leads to one of their articles.
So when you're out there on Google News and you're searching for articles, you're going to find this article is going to come up for all these things. Wonder what Gamergate was. Oh my God. And Alita's alt-right too? Oh, these people are horrible.
And
They're
it's like,
horrible.
so at the end of the day, the whole thing they're pissed about was months ago, the Academy asked for suggestions, and a bunch of fans got together in a concerted effort to name this movie. They do it for all kinds of movies. This happens all the time. This is not an isolated incident. And because Alita is coming out in digital, it came out in digital a couple days ago and it's coming out in Blu-ray. This article happens to drop now to make sure you know not to buy that movie.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole thing's about. I can sum it up for you in that was 2 sentences. That's what it's about.
But there's no conspiracy here.
No, not at all.
Not
The
at all.
conspiracy is all with the alt-right. Because, you know, they're the ones that are the conspiracy. But there's nothing here to see, folks. If there's no conspiracy here, don't buy it. Because 3 months ago, a bunch of people suggested Alita as a movie you should see in the cinema.
Which I agree.
How dare you?
All right, so we're going to wrap this one up.
Yeah, God, this person.
Okay, so
Adam, get a grip and get a clue.
please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants here on Clownfish TV. This has been Neon and Geeky. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.